And we're back in Nye County. I'm here with my co-host, Chuck Augustin. I'm Tom Gibson. And Chuck, you and I were having a little discussion off the camera about the issues we were discussing is the protective orders. Then we decided that we were going to move on to our next topic, which is a favorite topic of mine. That's Julian Assange and WikiLeaks.
But first, we got Amy on the line. Amy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you're going to move on to WikiLeaks Assange, or however you pronounce his name. I know I've been reading about that. But I had questions about the restraining order and the protective order. I'm a little confused. Now, I've never had one, but I do know people that have talked about them. Which one of these orders prohibit a person from walking into a shopping center and you're there, and they've got the order against you, and you don't know they're there?
Yeah,
Which one is that?
Well, if you don't know they're there, neither one applies. It has to be an intentional act. But it doesn't matter if it's restraining or protective. If, say, for instance, you have a protective order or a restraining, it doesn't matter, against Chuck. And Chuck just happens to go to Smith's at the same time you do. He doesn't have to leave, but he should, because you have to be there for the purpose of harassing the person. But once you're aware that they are there, the smart thing to do is get out. Okay, and that works. That's exactly the same as the restraining order as well. Really the main difference between the restraining and the protective order is who is enforcing it. The protective order is a misdemeanor, and it's enforced by the state, which includes the district attorneys, the cops, and the judge. Whereas a restraining order is civil in nature, and the only person really that you have to worry about, although the cops can get involved, is between you and the judge. If the judge finds out that someone was harassing you that was under a restraining order in violation of that court's order, then I've seen them go to jail for 25 days.
Is there a difference between a person making a threat against your life and you making a restraining order, or is that when you make the protective order?
Well, a restraining order usually, you don't usually get one unless you already have an existing case. So a restraining order can be in any civil case that you filed a civil action. It could be a breach of contract. Your former partner or business associate could be harassing you, causing you problems one way or another, and the applicant would file for a restraining order in that particular case, and the judge can and very well may issue it. And you can have a restraining order and a protective order, but normally one of them is going to get bumped in favor of the other, though. The other thing too is, if a person, here's a slight difference in the two too as well, is if you have, say it's a domestic case in family court, say divorce or child custody, and it's an existing case, and so say it's boyfriend, girlfriend, and they have a child in common, and then one of them goes to the justice court and files for a protective order. The justice court, if they know about the existing district court case, will throw it out. If they don't know, it'll bounce back to the person and say, hey, we can't issue this because you need to go to the district court judge for this. If it goes, but if it happens to slip through the cracks, then all the respondent needs to do is go to the district court and say, hey, this person's actually, take back. You go back to the justice court and inform the justice court there's an existing district court case. The justice court has to get rid of it because the justice court judge would not have jurisdiction to hear that matter or enforce it.
Okay, that's great information. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Now, I'm ready to hear about WikiLeaks. Thank you.
Okay, now, yeah, I'm not an expert on WikiLeaks, and I'm not an expert on Julian Assange, although I've been very interested, and I've read up on it over the past few years, but especially lately. And I used to buy into the BS argument that the liberals use, and that Julian Assange has endangered American lives by releasing information that was hacked by others. As Julian will say in his interviews, that there's no proof that anyone is ever harmed or killed in any way, or even harassed from the information that was disclosed to the public. And he's a whistleblower, okay? And for some reason, at one time, whistleblowers were protected. They're not anymore. And even in the federal system, or in the military, the whistleblowers laws don't really work because they'll get you for espionage. Sure. What risks people will go through in order to try to disclose this information to help other people to know the truth, and yet there's no one's protecting them, even though there is a law that is designed to protect them. And it's called the anti-SLAPP law, SLAPP. There's a federal and there's also a state version of anti-SLAPP, and they're both designed, and they were both created to protect whistleblowers from disclosing public information to the public, and it protects them from prosecution, theoretically.
Yeah, and getting back to Assange, he's 45 years old, he's from Australia, and he was a hacker, and got involved in hacking since he was a teenager, and always has had this flair for publicity and all the rest, but yet he's out, like so many, to reveal the secrets behind the secret society, government, or whatever we're dealing with in the global economy and the New World Order and all these words. So as far as I'm concerned, having lived with top secret information for 22 years, I know most of the things that are classified are not for national defense and not to protect our government from the enemy. It's to protect the government's secrets from the public.
Right,
yeah.
Correct.
And what's happening with Assange, it's funny because so much is said about WikiLeaks and Assange and all that, but how many people have actually read these emails that are being released? And the numbers are huge, so you'd have to devote entire weeks to reading all the emails. They're from John Podesta, who is the basic guru of the Clinton campaign. And this is going back years. And I read a bunch of them today, by no means all of them. But they deal with some staggering things that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, in that Hillary is saying one thing in public and totally the opposite in private. And she's dealing, despite the whole Democratic Party facade that they care about the people and the poor and spreading the wealth. Well, she's in the back hip of basically every major bank, Goldman Sachs, who is the Dracula of the financial world, and this pay-to-play by the entire world and this Clinton Foundation. And it's just staggering how these emails that are being released are divulging the total lack of even attempt to hide what they're doing.
It's my understanding from my research, but it's not conjecture. It's been based on over 3 years of reading this particular materials on the Bilderberg Society, the Bilderberg Group. The Bilderbergs are an international group of financiers. You call them the New World Order type. That basically they control the puppets that are in charge of our governments. And the Bilderbergs in 2007 met with this was a few months before the Democratic convention, met with both Hillary and Obama, and gave Hillary the bad news that she wasn't going to win, but they were going to save her slot as president after Obama left office, which very concerning because it's exactly, and this was stated way back in 2007 when that information got out. So coincidentally, it looks like the Bilderbergs are putting another puppet back, to do their bidding for them. And what's really scary, despite how you feel about Trump, he's not an insider. He's not one of the players. He may not be everyone's cup of tea, but he's definitely not a test-proven crony of the New World Order and like Hillary is.
Let me give you an idea of what some of these emails are revealing. The country of Qatar, which is one of the oil companies or countries in the Middle East, they gave Bill Clinton $1 million for his birthday.
Oh, I know.
A Saudi sheikh won't donate money to the Clinton Foundation unless he receives a phone call from Bill Clinton. The staff responds, Bill won't do it unless Sheikh Mo has sent us $6 million check. And so this pay-to-play, these exorbitant birthday gifts, the intertwining of the media, mainstream media with the Clinton campaign, the screwing of Bernie by the whole Democratic establishment, and on, that's what's being released in these WikiLeaks things. And again, it's sad that so much is said about WikiLeaks and all that, but yet so little of this information is coming out to the public.
Well, and thank God for WikiLeaks, because all the things, or like a lot of the things that the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists were saying for years, and they was laughed off as just being, conspiracy theories only, now they're being proved not only true, but it's been corroborated by other additional evidence. So everything you heard about these people is bad.
Okay, we got to go to break. Be back in a minute.